Hello and welcome to Percontation Points Video Snark. I'm continuing my sarcastic book review of The Mister by E.L. James. At the first video, go check out the others, links are posted below. Chapter 31. Elisa and Max stare at one another, startled. Max cracks a bit of a joke about her leaving without saying goodbye, and Elisa runs into his arms. When Anatoly comes into the room, he freezes, also startled. Elisa then says to her father in Albanian, which is then translated for Max by the translator, that Elisa says that she's pregnant and that Max is the father. Bold move. Max guesses that she's lying just to get out of this toxic situation. Daddy literally reaches for a gun that's mounted on the wall. Elisa tells her father that if she goes with Anatoly, that he will hurt her until one day he finally murders her. She shows him some of the bruises she's received during their trip across Europe. The sight of the bruises causes Max to snap, and he attacks Anatoly. It's Tom who pulls Max off from the other man, and he says that Max wouldn't want to cause an international incident. That's a joke, right? Max did mention about how Anatoly literally kidnapped Elisa and took her halfway across Europe, right? Eventually, after a lot of yelling, Max tells Elisa's father that the sight of Elisa hurt made him angry, which is understandable. Anatoly tries to defend his actions, saying that Elisa is spirited and needs to be broken, like she's a horse or something. Her father, for his part, just calls his daughter a 5-letter W word because he's classy like that. However, Anatoly says that he no longer wants Elisa, saying that she's damaged goods, and normally I'd be angry over such sexist nonsense, but honestly the sexism is working in Elisa's favor right now. Anatoly goes on to say that he's not going to give Elisa's dad the promised money for the honor of having Elisa. Max gets angry when this is translated for him, and he yells at them that they would just barter Elisa around like she was a spoon or something. Anatoly says that he should have had Elisa when he had the chance, and this provokes Max all over again. Elisa's dad is ready with the shotgun, but Elisa gets between Max and her father. Anatoly scoffs over a man who needs to hide behind a woman and threatens to shoot Max as well. In no uncertain terms, Elisa tells Anatoly that she took the bullets out from his gun earlier. And then this idiot suddenly realizes that his gun is way lighter than it should be. But at the end of the day, I think that the thought of somebody hurting his daughter, even if he thinks that she's disgraced the family, wins out over anything else. At least his dad orders Anatoly from the house. However, once Anatoly's gone, Elisa's father lays into his daughter. The translator relays everything for Max, although I'm sure that the translator was putting things a bit nicer than what was actually said. Max lays into her father in return, explaining about the sex trafficking and everything that she endured after escaping from that. And he speaks of honor, but yet he's not exactly being full of honor about the things that he says about his own daughter. The father fires back, saying that Max is one to talk about not having any honor when he couldn't even keep it in his pants. Which is fair, but also weirdly possessive of your daughter's virginity. And that's also something that needs to go off and die in the 19th century, thanks. But the chapter ends with Daddy saying that the only thing Max can do is to marry Elisa. Chapter 32. Elisa is startled and upset over what her father has ordered Max to do. She acknowledges that she lied about the pregnancy, but at the same time never meant for it to come to this. She doesn't want to trap Max into a marriage. However, as you probably guessed, this is exactly what Max wanted. He pulls out Granny's ring, gets down on one knee, and gives a proper proposal, which I'm positive would be way more impactful if they'd known one another for longer than a month. She says yes, obviously, and the two of them kiss. However, Daddy breaks them apart to ask about something crucial Max said in his proposal, that Elisa would be a countess. They have to explain about Max's title and that by marrying, Elisa would get the title of countess. This startles Elisa's parents, as you might expect. Daddy leaves and comes back with a bottle of some sort of liquor. Mother looks exceptionally relieved with the knowledge that, if anything, at least her daughter isn't going to be at the hands of somebody who routinely beats her. They make a toast. At the second one, Daddy says that Elisa and Max must get married by the end of the week, which is startling to Max. And then that's the end of this chapter. Insanely short, but sure, let's wrap it up with the last chapter now. Chapter 33. The chapter opens with Elisa saying goodbye to her parents. We aren't given a translation as to what Elisa says to her father, and I'm not even sure if I care enough to Google Translate it. Elisa's parents insisted that Max stay at their house overnight, which he does. As you might expect, Elisa sneaks into his room where they get intimate. As Elisa lies in his arms after, Max thinks about her relationship with her parents, how it explains so much about her personality. Elisa wakes up after a moment and says that she needs to leave or else face further wrath from her father. Max jokes that her father likes Max only for his title. Elisa apologizes for the lie about her pregnancy, although Max is quick to say that he doesn't mind the thought of kids. As they kiss, Max thinks about how they're going to be married so quickly and how he's going to tell his mother. On that note, the story comes to a close. There are some notes following this listing of the songs Elisa played in various chapters. Why we need a playlist for this is beyond me, but here we are. Overall, I felt like this was not that bad, all things considered, especially considering the fact that this was by the same lady who wrote 50 Shades of Grey. But then again, the bar for that is A Tavern in Hades, so it's not like it would take much to be better than 50 Shades. I still felt like this had a lot of problems, mainly just that insta-love thing that I kept going on about. Was it better than the insta-love from The Betrothed? Yes. At least you saw Elise and Max talking to one another. They didn't randomly just sleep with one another. Was it a better relationship than Christian and Anna? Hell, yes. But at the same time, I think that it's funny how the book was quick to point out that the things Elisa was being forced into were terrible and the things like arranged marriages needed to die, and yet Elisa escapes Albania and then immediately falls for the first age-appropriate male to show her any sign of affection. Also, I loved how at the end Tom tried to call Max out on his insta-love and Max dismissed the entire thing quickly. I also kind of felt like James couldn't decide if she wanted to do the human trafficking storyline or the guy from her hometown kidnaps her storyline, so she did both, but only seemed to be half focused on either. There was so much build-up in the beginning about the traffickers, only for that to come to a really quick ending, and then Elisa kind of springs Anatoly on Max with no warning or build-up to that, and then whoop, there he is! This is how we're apparently going to end the book. And now, the moment that you've all been waiting for, the announcement of the next book. Shatter Me by Tahereh Mafi. Also, I'm trying something out with my video format. Not sure if I'm going to be sticking with this for future books, but I'm already a bit committed to it for Shatter Me. So, we'll see. And I don't have the ending for the Shatter Me videos made up, so I'll just have to switch back to the Mr. ending just one last time. Thanks for listening to my book Snark on YouTube. New videos are up every Monday, but stick around because sometimes I drop random videos on other days too. You can like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you don't miss a single video. While you're waiting for the next video, you can go check out all my other videos. If you're already caught up with all of my videos, you can go to Tumblr for my main book Snarks, always free and updated every morning. And if you've already read all of my main Snarks, and you can find even more Snarks on my Patreon, you can access it for $1 a month, plus you get early access to my main Tumblr Snark. Special thanks to Dawn, Phoebe, and Nikki for supporting me on Patreon already. If you want to hear your name in my video next week, you either support me on Patreon or make a one-time donation. Do you like my Snarks so much that you want me to snark your writing? I do that too. For just $3 per chapter, I will tell you how awful that your writing is. But not to worry if you feel like you couldn't take the criticism. I also offer regular book editing as well, $3 for every 5,000 words. You can contact me on Tumblr if you have further questions. If you want to read some of the things that I've written, you can purchase my works on Amazon. I have 19 erotic short stories, 1 short story collection, and 1 full-length novel. I also sometimes run flash sales on my stories, and if you don't follow me on any social media, you might want to do so just so you know when I might be offering more things for free. Links for everything will be posted below. See you next week for Shatter Me!